The nail that sticks out gets hammered down. It's a proverb that sounds ominous, but for Sigma males, it's not just a saying, it's their everyday reality. In a world that thrives on labels, groupthink, and predictable behavior, Sigma males stick out like a rogue lightning bolt in a thunderstorm. They don't play by the rules, they don't chase approval, and they certainly don't care about fitting in, and that's exactly why life seems to hammer them relentlessly. Here's a fact to chew on. Studies show that independent thinkers often face more resistance than conformists because their very existence challenges the status quo. Now sprinkle in a Sigma male's unwillingness to compromise on who they are, and you've got the perfect recipe for a life riddled with both admiration and animosity. But don't get it twisted. This isn't a sob story. Sigma males aren't whining about how hard life is. They're the silent warriors navigating their battles with a smirk that says, "Is that all you've got?" Yet behind that cool exterior lies a reality most people wouldn't last a day living. So buckle up, because we're diving headfirst into 10 brutally honest reasons why Sigma males have lives as tough as a $2 steak and just as impossible to chew through. Number 1, society mislabels them as arrogant. Sigma males are often misjudged because they don't operate the way most people do, and society hates what it can't define. Their independence and self-assurance don't come with flashy declarations or constant reminders of their worth, so people fill in the blanks with their own misconceptions. The most common one, arrogance. To the outside world, a Sigma male's quiet confidence can look like he's stuck up or thinks he's too good for others, but that couldn't be further from the truth. He's not putting himself on a pedestal, he's just not interested in playing the game. Most people are wired to seek approval, to crave validation from their peers, their bosses, or social media followers. Sigma males, however, don't engage in that dance. They're not scrolling for likes, not hanging on compliments, and not bending over backward to prove their worth. This complete disinterest in external validation unsettles people who thrive on it. It's like watching someone play poker and refusing to show their cards. Everyone assumes they must be bluffing. What's even more frustrating for others is that Sigma males don't go out of their way to explain themselves. They don't feel the need to clear up misunderstandings because they value their peace over anyone else's opinion. This refusal to defend their character only adds fuel to the fire, leaving people convinced that their silence is proof of their superiority complex. In reality, they're just too busy focusing on what matters to waste energy on baseless judgments. The truth is, people label what they don't understand, and because Sigma males walk through life with quiet purpose without needing to prove their worth to anyone, they unintentionally challenge everyone around them. That challenge in turn creates discomfort, and discomfort always demands an explanation, even when there isn't one. Number 2, outsider syndrome. For Sigma males, being an outsider isn't just a phase, it's a constant state of existence. No matter where they go or who they're with, there's always this subtle gap, like they're standing on the edge of the crowd, even when they're right in the middle of it. It's not because they aren't respected or appreciated. Often they are. It's because their minds work differently, and that difference creates an unshakable feeling of detachment. Even in groups where they're accepted, Sigma males rarely feel like they truly belong. They observe more than they participate, analyze rather than follow, and question instead of conforming. While others bond over shared small talk or surface-level interactions, Sigma males crave depth and meaning, which are not always on the menu. They can blend in when necessary, even shine in social settings, but deep down they know they're not like everyone else. This outsider syndrome comes with its own unique challenges. On one hand, it gives Sigma males incredible perspective. Standing apart allows them to see the patterns, flaws, and dynamics of the groups they interact with. They're the silent strategist, always 2 steps ahead. But on the other hand, this detachment can be isolating. Even when they try to connect, there's often a nagging realization that most people don't get them, and maybe never will. For some, this constant feeling of being an outsider would be unbearable, but Sigma males accept it. They know belonging isn't their priority. Authenticity is. Still, it's not always easy to navigate a world where connection seems fleeting and understanding feels like a rare currency. The irony is, while others envy their independence, they quietly carry the weight of never fully fitting in, even when they want to. Number 3, the world hates people it can't control. The world despises what it cannot control, and Sigma males are the epitome of unshakable independence. They don't bow to trends, they're unfazed by authority, and peer pressure might as well be white noise to them. This makes them a serious anomaly in a society that thrives on control. From the moment we're born, the world tries to mold us, telling us how to think, behave, and even dream. But Sigma males, they walk right past the blueprint and start building their own. What infuriates society most is that this independence can't be bought, bullied, or bribed. Sigma males don't care about climbing ladders that others obsess over. Whether it's corporate hierarchies, social media clout, or superficial popularity, none of it holds sway over them. Their motivations come from within, and that terrifies people who rely on external validation. It's hard to manipulate someone who doesn't need you, and even harder to predict what they'll do next. This resistance to control makes Sigma males a quiet threat to systems designed to keep people in line. They question rules, challenge expectations, and ignore societal scripts, all without seeking permission. They're not rebellious for the sake of rebellion, they simply refuse to compromise their values or individuality. This nonconformity exposes the cracks in a society that depends on uniformity, and that exposure makes others uncomfortable. To those in power, whether it's a boss, a peer group, or an institution, Sigma males represent a problem they can't solve. They can't be guilt-tripped into submission, flattered into compliance, or scared into silence. This immunity to manipulation doesn't just make them hard to control, it makes them a living example that control isn't always necessary. And in a world desperate to maintain its grip, that's an unforgivable offense. Number 4. Alone but not lonely, still a problem. Sigma males are an enigma because they thrive in their own company, and that's a concept the world just can't seem to wrap its head around. In a society that equates constant interaction with success and happiness, their preference for solitude is often misinterpreted as a flaw. People assume there must be something wrong with them, loneliness, rejection, or maybe even arrogance. But the truth is far simpler. Sigma males aren't running from people, they're running toward peace. Their contentment with being alone doesn't mean they lack social skills or disdain relationships, quite the opposite. When they choose to interact, they're fully present and deeply engaged, but their energy isn't limitless and they're selective about where it goes. Small talk, forced gatherings, and superficial connections? Not worth it. They'd rather invest in meaningful experiences or simply recharge in solitude. Unfortunately, this doesn't sit well with others. People can't fathom someone being happy without constant validation or companionship. So Sigma males become the subject of relentless questions. Why are you so quiet? Don't you feel lonely? Are you okay? It's not concern, it's projection. Those asking can't imagine being alone without feeling empty, so they assume the same must be true for everyone. The criticism and pity can be exhausting. It's as if society needs to label their solitude as a problem to feel better about its own neediness. But Sigma males don't conform to these narratives. They don't need a crowd to feel whole, nor do they see aloneness as a void to be filled. For them, solitude is a sanctuary, a space where they can think, grow, and simply be. And if that challenges societal norms, well, that's just another layer of their unapologetic independence. Number 5, minimalism misjudged as lack of ambition. Sigma males have a unique relationship with ambition, one that society often fails to understand. They're not drawn to materialism or the never-ending race for status symbols that many equate with success. Instead, they prioritize experiences, personal growth, and freedom. For them, the shiny car or oversized house isn't the end goal. It's what those things represent that matters. Do they provide freedom, fulfillment? If not, they're just distractions. This minimalist mindset throws people off. Society is conditioned to measure ambition by visible trophies. How much you earn, how big your house is, how many designer brands you own. Sigma males, however, measure their success by how much control they have over their lives. They're more likely to invest in learning new skills, traveling the world, or carving out time for meaningful hobbies than chasing the next paycheck just for show. But because their accomplishments aren't always flashy, they're often undervalued or dismissed as lacking drive. What people fail to see is the deliberate nature of this approach. Sigma males are highly strategic and their choices reflect long-term thinking rather than impulsive gratification. While others burn themselves out trying to climb corporate ladders or keep up with societal expectations, Sigma males quietly build lives that align with their values. They work smarter, not harder, often finding ways to achieve financial security or freedom without compromising their peace. To those stuck in conventional mindsets, this can look like laziness or a lack of ambition, but in reality, it's the opposite. Sigma males have the ambition to create a life of substance, not spectacle, a life that doesn't just impress others but truly satisfies themselves. And if that challenges the traditional metrics of success, they're perfectly fine letting others misjudge them. Number 6, their success comes at a steep cost. Sigma males are the architects of their own success, but the road they travel is anything but smooth. Their refusal to rely on connections, shortcuts, or conventional systems means they often have to work twice as hard just to be recognized. While others may climb the ladder by leaning on who they know or playing the politics game, Sigma males build their own ladder from scratch, and that takes time, effort, and a level of resilience most people can't imagine. Their success stories aren't flashy or overnight sensations. They don't go viral or suddenly explode onto the scene. Instead, their achievements are built brick by brick through years of quiet hustle, countless setbacks, and unwavering commitment. It's a process that's often lonely and thankless. There are no cheerleaders in the stands for someone who chooses to walk their own path. They endure doubt from others, and worse, sometimes even from themselves, yet they keep going. The steep cost of their success isn't just measured in effort, but in sacrifices. Their focus and independence mean they may miss out on social events, relationships, or fleeting opportunities that don't align with their long-term goals. This self-imposed isolation can be misunderstood as coldness or arrogance, but it's really about discipline. Sigma males know they can't afford to be distracted if they want to achieve something truly meaningful. And when they finally reach their goals, the recognition, if it even comes, often feels secondary. What drives them isn't applause or validation, but the deep satisfaction of knowing they did it their way. Their success isn't handed to them, it's earned in the purest sense, forged in solitude, and paid for with years of unseen struggle. That's the steep cost they're willing to bear, and it's what makes their victories so uniquely their own. Number 7, society worships extroversion. Society has long been enchanted by extroversion, equating loudness and charm with leadership and success. It's a world that rewards those who take up space, command attention, and dominate conversations. Sigma males, with their quiet confidence and introspective nature, don't fit this mold, and that often leaves them sidelined. They're not the type to clamor for attention, and in a culture that measures worth by how visible you are, this makes them easy to underestimate. Their reluctance to engage in performative socializing isn't because they're unfriendly or lack the skills. It's because they see no value in superficial connections or empty chatter. To them, words are tools, not decorations, and they prefer to speak only when they have something meaningful to say. But this deliberate silence is frequently misinterpreted as aloofness or even arrogance. The same traits that should earn them respect, thoughtfulness, self-awareness, and composure, are instead dismissed as signs of being boring or too serious. This bias toward extroversion extends beyond social settings. In workplaces, classrooms, and even relationships, those who are louder and more outwardly engaging often overshadow Sigma males, regardless of actual competence or depth. Decisions and opportunities often favor those who can sell themselves loudly, rather than those who let their work speak for itself. But what society fails to recognize is the power of quiet confidence. Sigma males may not be the loudest voice in the room, but they are often the most grounded. Their introspection gives them clarity, their independence fuels their innovation, and their authenticity builds trust over time. While extroverts might shine brightly in the moment, Sigma males build a steady, lasting brilliance. It's not that they can't thrive in an extrovert-worshipping world, they do, but they often have to work harder to prove their worth in ways that should be self-evident. Number 8, uncompromising standards alienate them. Sigma males live by a code of uncompromising standards, They have an unwavering sense of purpose and a clear vision for their lives that they won't dilute, no matter the circumstances. This applies to everything: their careers, relationships, and friendships. They don't just accept what's available, they aim for what aligns with their principles, their goals, and their values. But while this level of dedication and self-respect can be inspiring, it can also be isolating. Most people simply don't measure up, and as a result, Sigma males often find themselves with fewer connections and opportunities than they might like. This high standard isn't rooted in elitism or arrogance, it's about authenticity. They don't want to engage in relationships or work that feels hollow or forced, a job that doesn't challenge them or align with their vision. It's not worth it. A friend who only brings drama or isn't intellectually stimulating, they'll drop them without hesitation. While this creates space for deep, meaningful connections, it also weeds out the superficial and the subpar, making their social and professional circles smaller. They value quality over quantity, which can make them seem difficult to reach or maintain a connection with. The downside is that society often misinterprets this as being too demanding or even elitist. People who don't understand the importance of self-respect and high standards may see Sigma males as critical, standoffish, or impossible to please. The reality is they're not impossible to please, they're just not willing to compromise their vision for the sake of convenience. And while this can result in periods of solitude, it's precisely this drive and refusal to settle that often propels them to success. Their standards are what shape them into the rare, exceptional individuals they are, even if it means fewer people understand or walk alongside them. Number 9, misunderstood emotional depth. Sigma males have a rich emotional world, but it's not one that's easily seen or understood. Unlike those who wear their emotions on their sleeves, they're masters of internal processing. They feel deeply, but they do so in silence, working through their thoughts and feelings in a way that's often invisible to others. This introspective approach can be confusing for people who are used to outward displays of emotion. To them, Sigma males can seem cold, distant, or even emotionless, but this couldn't be further from the truth. They're not detached, they're just navigating their emotional landscape in private, away from the eyes of the world. This emotional depth can be a double-edged sword. On one hand, it allows them to remain calm and rational even in high-pressure situations. They're not prone to knee-jerk reactions or dramatic outbursts. Instead, they reflect, analyze, and respond from a place of true understanding. But on the other hand, this same depth makes them difficult to read and even more difficult to connect with on a deeper level. People may misinterpret their quiet demeanor as indifference, when in reality they're processing complex emotions that they're not ready to share. This can lead to isolation. Friends and partners who expect open emotional expression might feel rejected or frustrated when a Sigma male doesn't meet their emotional expectations. They want to connect, but they often don't know how to bridge that gap between their internal world and the external one. It's not that they don't care, it's that they experience and express care in a way that doesn't always align with societal norms. For Sigma males, it's not about hiding emotions, but about preserving the depth and intensity of those emotions, sharing them only when they trust the other person to understand and value them. Number 10, authenticity makes them targets. Authenticity in today's world is like walking around with a spotlight in the middle of a crowd that thrives on shadows. Sigma males stand out not because they try to, but because they refuse to be anything but themselves. They won't fake a smile to please the room, parrot popular opinions to fit in, or change who they are for the sake of acceptance. This unwavering authenticity disrupts a society built on facades, and for many that's unsettling. When you're not playing by the rules of conformity, you're automatically seen as a threat, even if all you're doing is minding your own business. What makes this worse is that people often mistake their authenticity for arrogance or aloofness. Instead of celebrating someone who doesn't conform to the herd, society ostracizes them. Those who rely on approval from others can't comprehend how Sigma males navigate life without needing validation. It's easier to label them as difficult or out of touch than to understand their perspective. This dynamic often makes Sigma males the target of criticism, jealousy, or outright exclusion. Their refusal to compromise unsettles those who've built their lives around appeasing others or following trends. It's not that Sigma males intentionally seek conflict. It's that their mere existence questions the status quo. But even when the world pushes back, they don't waver. Their strength lies in staying true to themselves, even when it costs them relationships, opportunities, or social standing. For them, authenticity isn't just a trait. It's a way of life, no matter how uncomfortable it makes others. The life of a Sigma male is one of paradoxes. Strong yet solitary, deeply thoughtful yet misunderstood, independent yet yearning for connection. They don't fit neatly into society's boxes, and that's exactly what makes them extraordinary. While their path can be arduous, full of isolation, misinterpretations, and sacrifices, they are also the ones who blaze new trails, challenge the norm, and bring authenticity and depth into a world that often feels shallow. The struggles they face aren't just barriers. They're the crucibles that shape them into the resilient, self-aware individuals they are. What society overlooks is that Sigma males don't need approval, but they do crave understanding. They don't seek validation from others, but they value respect from those who recognize their unique way of moving through the world. They're quiet warriors, navigating life with a strength that's subtle, yet undeniable. Their lives may be harder, but that's because they choose to live them on their own terms, guided by a compass that doesn't point to the easy path, but to the one that is true to who they are. And that, in itself, is something to admire. Because in a world that often values conformity, Sigma males remind us that there is power in independence, courage in solitude, and beauty in going your own way, even when the world doesn't understand it. They may not be the loudest in the room, but they are often the ones who leave the most lasting impact. Bye for now, and see you in the next video.